Hello everyone and welcome to Facebook Live. I'm really hoping that it will work tonight because I did have some trouble on Tuesday night and I think it was more due to the weather. We had some pretty strong wind and some stormy conditions rolling in. So fingers crossed for tonight. So I would like to share with you a card that I've made before, but I want to show you how easy it is to make the same card over and over and just how different it can look by changing up some of the products that you used. So just before I get started, a couple of reminders. The buy one, get one 50% off sale, and this applies to all suites and all of the products within the suites. This promotion ends on the 30th of June. So you still have a few more days to take advantage of this one, and there are some really nice savings to be made. So that is my first reminder. Second reminder is the virtual album retreat. This is going to be a fabulous event. So with this kit or with this retreat, you get all of the products that you need to make 12 double layouts. You get page protectors, you get 2 stamp sets, you get embellishments. And each of these projects will be done via Facebook Live. But don't panic if you don't have Facebook or you don't follow along with that. You'll be able to catch up on replay when it's all transferred over onto YouTube. So the cost for this event is $435, but you are going to get some amazing value out of this one. So that is coming up, and you do have until the end of the month to purchase your products for this one. So virtual album retreat. Okay. Hello, Jody. Thank you for joining me. So far, so good that Facebook is working tonight. Okay, so I've mentioned from time to time, as I did a few minutes ago, about using the same card designs and create different cards using that design. I shared with this card earlier in the week, and I want to make this using some different products. And this is one of the cards that was in the free class from June last year. So it's been a year since I've actually made this card, but it's going to be made using some different products. Hi Jenny, thank you for joining us. Okay, so on page 72 and 73 of the annual catalogue, there is some designer series paper called Weekend Adventures. So that is a really beautiful single page layout, but of course you can use these papers for cards as well. So let me share with you the actual products. So in this packet of the designer series paper, there are 3 different designs and you get 4 of each. So for anyone who enjoys memory keeping, it's a great packet of paper to use. So let me show you the 3 papers. So I'll show you one side first. So you have the check pattern, and this is Cajun Craze. So that is a really good colour. It's a nice rich colour. Not one I use a great deal, but it is a good colour to do a little bit more masculine cards. Got the one with the old olive. So there's also a little bit of mossy meadow in here as well. So there's just a tree pattern. Let me hold it up a little bit closer. So it's just got little trees. And the final piece has got, again, it's got the some Cajun Craze, there's some pecan pie in there, some, I'm going to say early espresso is a brown. So that is the 3rd piece. Let me show you the reverse side. So we have got some stripes. This pattern is actually, I'm hoping it's going to, my phone will focus in. They're little acorns, so they're kind of cute. And this is sort of a splatter sort of pattern, almost looks like bleach has been flicked over the paper. So I want to recreate this card using these papers and some coordinating cardstock as well. Now the final thing I want to share with you with the Weekend Adventures is there is also a sticker sheet that you can get. So with the sample that they've got in the catalogue of the page, they've actually used some of these stickers on it. So of course, if you don't do memory keeping, the stickers would also be a really good option for your cards. Okay, let's make a start on this. I haven't cut really anything out for this card. So tonight's Facebook Live may take a few minutes longer just as I go through the process and cut everything out. So the products that I'm using, as I mentioned, I've got the Weekend Adventures Designer Series paper. My sentiment is from Simply Said, which is one I use all the time. I've also got Labelled with Love punch, and that's just to punch the sentiment out once it's been stamped. I've used the Birchwood embossing fold, which I did emboss this piece earlier. So this is Birchwood, so it just has that really nice wood grain. This is a 3D embossing folder, so you will need to have a different sandwich to use this on your machine. Let me show you the piece. So I did cut this piece earlier and do the embossing on it just so that I didn't have to bring my big machine over. And the coloured cardstock I'm using, I do have some white, and I wasn't sure which colours to use, so I bought some extras over. There we've got Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Cajun Craze, Pecan Pie, and I've also got some extra white as well. And of course we've got the Designer Series papers. So I think what I'll do to begin with, I think I will use Cajun Craze to make this banner. So let me measure this first and then I'll cut the piece for it. So we've got 6 centimeters by 13.5. I'll go the 6 by 13.5. Okay, so we'll cut the banner for that one in just a moment. That will fit on there like that. Okay, I do have 2 pieces of Designer Series paper to cut. So I think for the bigger piece, I'm going to use the Cajun Craze piece with the check on it. And this is going to be 9 centimeters by 6. I'll do the 6 first. And we've got by 9. So that is going to go across the middle just like that. And the final piece is just this small piece here. And this one measures 4 centimeters by 8. So I think we will use the lighter color just to bring a little bit more of a point of interest. So I've got 4 centimeters. Oh, I've forgotten the other measurement already. 8. Okay. So that is the bulk of the card almost cut and ready to go. I might change this piece out and use some of the Old Olive, which I do this from time to time. I've got 6 by 13.5, so I'll try this one in a different colour. And I'm sure everyone does this sort of thing. You think a colour's going to work, but then you kind of change your mind. Okay, let me get rid of the paper trimmer. I think I'm going to like this one a little bit more. So I still need to cut my banner, and then I think I like that better already. So those pieces are going to come together just like that. For my sentiment, I do have my piece of white. Now normally I would use an offcut of white, but I didn't bring any over here, so we'll just use a full piece instead. I'm going to use Cajun Craze ink, and as I mentioned, Simply Said, and I'm using the Birthday Wishes sentiment. So stamping that towards the bottom. So stamp first and then punch. You'll find it a lot easier. to line up your sentiment and then lining that one up and a simple punch out. All right, so let's see how this is going to look. Let me just position the pieces on. Now you can go ahead and stick down these pieces straight away if you like, but I actually like to sit them all in place just so I can get an idea of how the card is going to come together. Okay, so then we'll have the sentiment sitting on the top around about there. I think that's going to work. And I do have some linen thread, and also these are called pressed flower motifs. So these are a metal embellishment, and I've also got some linen thread as well. So that's a really nice, organic, natural looking thread. So I think if I put those side by side, I think that is going to work okay. As I mentioned, I have already done the embossing folder, which is birchwood. That's just in place of the pressed tin embossing folder that I used on the other one. I think this is going to work okay. All right, so next I need to cut a base. So I think I'll stick with Old Olive for the base, which of course is simply half a sheet of your A4. So that is not quite 15, so it's about, I don't know, 14.9. There we go. And if you like, you can also score that if you really want to, and that would be scored at 10.5. Hi Carol, thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's finish putting this card together. Now, if memory serves me correctly, I do think that this was one of the sketches in the last annual catalogue. And I think that would have been around page 20. Okay. So I need to cut. So I'm wondering if that one might look better. Now let's give it a try. All right, so this is 9 by 6. I actually think I like this paper. And I'll use the other pieces that I've cut. They'll just get used on something else. So 9. Oh, what did I say? 9 by 6. And as always, with everything with card making, it's always trial and error. Oh, I've cut it the wrong way. Oh, it doesn't matter. It'll be covered. Let's see how this one works. So we'll have our banner cut there. My teacup is going off to the side, but I think that's going to be covered, so I think we're safe. Oh, I like that one better. And we'll stick with the Cajun Craze, which sits off to one side. So go ahead and start putting this one together. First, I need to cut my strip of Old Olive into a banner. So some days when I'm creating cards, one of the things I end up with are lots of the same size pieces that are cut out. And that's okay. I think we need to try different colour bases and different coloured mats just until we find the colour combination that we're happy with. And the other pieces, I never consider them to be wasted. They're just pieces I'm going to use on something else. Or there's a chance that with the pieces I've already cut, I will create another card with them, do the same, but just change up the colours a little bit to make it work a little bit better. Okay, so I should have probably talked about cutting the little banners. You would have noticed I cut up roughly in the middle. I haven't measured the middle, I've just sort of eyeballed that, and I've cut up about 0.5 centimetre, then I've cut my little triangles out of each side. If you want to have a banner that's got more of that triangle cut out of it, cut in a little bit further. This way you get a reasonably level banner. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on first. I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal. And my reminders, as always, just a light hand with your Stampin' Seal, and remember that little tick just to break the stream of the adhesive. And this is going to be centered on my piece of embossed white. Okay, next I'm going to stick this onto my card front, and again I am using some Stampin' Seal. And this is going onto the old olive card base. So a question for you, because I think we all use different systems to store things away or squirrel things away that we haven't used. How do you store your extra die cuts or extra pieces that you've cut out? For example, tonight I've got a few extra pieces. How would you normally store those? Because I'm always looking for different ways of storing the leftover product. Okay, I am going to use some dimensionals and put my piece of Designer Series paper on next. And I'm going to use, let me see, I've got leftover sheet of dimensionals, so I'm just going to finish cutting up the outside pieces to use those. So with this size piece, I'm going to put one in each corner and one in the middle. I also have my sheet of minis as well. Okay. So this is a nice quick card design to use. And it is helpful, particularly if you're perhaps short on time or you're not sure what to create. Reusing old card designs takes all the hard work out of it. Okay, my next piece, I've got my smaller piece of Designer Series paper, and I'm going to be putting some linen thread on this one. So my first piece I'm just going to be putting over the top. Oh, I think I've just stuck this to the wrong piece. It should have been on the other one. Let me see if I can get it off. Okay, so I should be able to. Hasn't stuck down too badly. Okay, so with the Take Your Pick tool, one of the things I really love about this tool, there is a flat spatula end. That is really fabulous for getting up pieces that have been stuck down, crooked or in the wrong spot. Okay, let's start again. Try with this one. And I've just got a little bit of dimensional just to take off there. Okay, let's try again. Okay, plastic bag, and yeah, I put things in bags and containers all the time and forget to use them or put them aside and then don't know where they are. Yeah, so I think any ideas are always worth looking at. One of the things I've done with some of my die cuts and things like that is into a little Ziploc bag or a plastic bag, and then into the cover with the stamp set. I found that's been reasonably successful. The other thing too is with die cuts, because I use quite a lot of them, I have a divided container that any extra die cuts I can just pop in the container, which is quite effective as well. For me, it's more with the class preparation. I often have some of my, particularly the stylish shapes, I use those a lot. I have those sitting ready to use. Okay, we're back on track now. So I'm going to stick this piece, now that I've got my linen thread attached to it, I'm going to stick this back onto my card front using dimensionals. Earlier today I was doing another video and I actually had to pull part of my card apart as well. So I think it's just been the day for it today of needing to pull pieces off. Okay. And I think, yeah, we all do that. I'm sure we all do. So this is going on next. Pretty much back in the same spot that it was in earlier. All right. Now I've got my piece, my smaller piece with the green. And this, as I mentioned, let me hold it up a bit closer. It's got little trees on it. So some of them look like little Christmas trees and others like little, I don't know, maybe little pine trees or something. Okay, so before I stick this on, I'm just looking at the original card. I'm going to stick my sentiment down and I'm just going to use some Stamp and Seal, because this way it does minimize the number of layers that are used on the card, because sometimes the cards get really bulky. And I'm surprised I'm saying that because I love using lots of dimensionals and things on my cards. Okay, so there is that stuck on. Let me see what I've done next. Okay, for this piece, it's going to be going onto my card front, and it's going to be slightly off center or off to one side. So it's going to sit around about there. I am going to be using some dimensionals, but I'm only going to be putting the dimensionals on this side a little further in rather than right on the edge of the card. Okay, so we've got, let me just check which side. Okay, so the reason I'm not putting the dimensionals on this side right to the edge is this is going to kind of hang free because it's going to hang off that first piece of, I've got dimensionals under here. Okay, I stuck my card on upside down, so we're having a time, people. So we're going this way. Mine is going to be reversed the image, and that is okay. I'm actually quite happy I've managed to do this tonight, because it just shows you that we all have a tendency to stick things on the wrong way, upside down, on the back rather than the front of the card. And I'm okay with that. This one is just going to be sort of mirror image as such. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm just checking to make sure my card is opening the right way. All right. Because sometimes in classes, sometimes people worry about creating their card slightly differently to what I've done, and it really doesn't matter. I think all of the cards turn out quite nicely in the end, just ever so slightly different. Okay, my next bit. To finish this off, I've got an embellishment to put on. Also need to do my bow. Again, linen thread, and I'm going to have this measuring about 25 centimeters. Okay, this piece, you can tie the bow if you like and then put it on with the glue dot. I'm going to just gently slide or gently lift up the bottom piece of linen thread, and I'm tying a bow. So this is just your standard shoelace type bow. And almost done. And of course you can slightly adjust your bow so it sits how you would like it to. And then I've also got my embellishments as well, which are the pressed flower motifs. And these are a little bit weighty. They are made of metal, but they are really, really very nice to use. So I'm going to use just one of the larger ones. Oh, I think that's too big. Let me grab the smaller one. Actually, we might put a couple more on. We can do that. That's filled in that little bit of space. So there we have the same card. Oh, actually, I need to finish the inside as well. So let me grab my paper trimmer. And the piece for the inside will measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. So I've done my 14.4, then I'll get my 2 pieces at 10 centimetres out of this one piece. So there's one to use later. And here is the second one. So that's our second piece. And I'm also going to do as well a 1 centimetre strip to put on the inside. So that will be 1 centimetre by 14.4. I'm going to do it 14.5 and I'll just trim it up. Okay, let me get rid of my paper trimmer. And for this piece, I'm going to use a thin double-sided tape. It's been a little while since I've done any designer series papers on the inside of my cards, so this will be nice. So this thin double-sided tape, you'll find this at any craft store and also some of the discount stores as well. You can pick this up for a few dollars a roll. Okay. So I am leaving just a little bit of white strip there, and I've got my little tiny bit here to trim up. And I'm going to make sure I stick this on the inside the card the right way so the boot footprints are going in the right direction. Okay, some Stampin' Seal. And this will finish off the inside of the card really nicely. And that will go in about there. Well, there you have it. It's the same card, just made slightly differently. A little bit of that sort of mirror image, or I guess more reverse image to the original card. And that's simply based on the fact that I stuck one piece on upside down. So, and that's okay. So that is what I have for you tonight. So please, please, please reuse your old card designs, because some of them are fabulous using different papers and different coloured cardstocks. I've got a feminine version and now I've got the masculine. So I hope it's inspired you to go back and revisit some of your old cards that you've made, because I think the same card, even if you use, you know, as I've done out of necessity because I stuck something on upside down, there's lots of different things you can do. You can have stamped backgrounds. I use a lot of designer series paper because that's what I really enjoy using. But you could do the same, create the same sort of backgrounds and things with your stamps and other products too. Thank you very much, Gay. So thank you to Jody, Jenny, Carol, Jeanette and Gay for watching, and anyone else who's watching. And also I will be uploading to those who are watching on my YouTube channel as well, because this will be uploaded onto YouTube fairly soon, so that we don't lose this one. I'm going to be back next Tuesday. Fingers crossed that Facebook will be working properly next Tuesday as well. As long as we're not stormy, we should be good. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week.